Thoughts are things and occupy space in the mind. You can join those who have dared to prosper. Welcome, beautiful souls. This is Aurelia from Aureliaslight, and I welcome you to my channel and the podcast, Manifesting the Miraculous, where I read and I speak from all context of metaphysics, spirituality, anything that makes your life, our lives, better, more abundant, more joyful, and prosperous. If this is your first time here, please comment below where you're from. I would love to see you. Now, tonight we're going to be listening to some beautiful writing from the author Catherine Ponder. And she is along with Joseph Murphy and Florence Scovel Shinn, and the writings of the science of the mind and how we use our mind to basically create our life. It starts in the mind and the feeling. So again, I welcome you here. And before I continue, just wanted to invite you to visit my website at Aureliaslight.com. I am a composer and a musician from a very early age. I have tons of music there. And I also teach sound healing education and how to raise your frequency, especially in this time of humanity's awakening. So go ahead and check out Aureliaslight.com. You can find my music in Spotify, iTunes, and everywhere music is sold. And without further ado, Dare to Prosper by Catherine Ponder. Prosperity comes not by chance, but in accordance with absolute law. Charles Fillmore has said, "The law of supply is a divine law. This means that it is a law of mind and must work through the mind. In other words, the peace, health, and plenty of prosperity must come through prosperous thinking. The mind can be trained to think prosperity and prosperously in simple, delightful ways, and the results of prosperous thinking are also delightful, practical, and satisfying." A businessman had a serious heart condition most of his life. As he began to practice prosperous thinking, he relaxed more and more in mind, body, and affairs. As he began to make his mind work for him in prosperous, healthy, and victorious ways, tension disappeared, and after a time his physician stated that the heart condition had been healed, and today this man enjoys the best health of his life. A lonely, unhappy career woman who had often threatened suicide learned about prosperous thinking and became so fascinated with its practical power that she found new interests outside of herself. She developed a new lease on life, and the suicide talk stopped. And today, she is a transformed individual. A businessman who drank secretly found that as he began invoking prosperous thinking, he was able to resolve and dissolve inner hostilities and conflicts through new, victorious attitudes. His desire to drink vanished. In several instances, a marriage was saved after one of the partners learned of and began quietly to practice prosperous thinking. A widow who had been alone for 20 years remarried happily. One person's divorced partner returned, and they were remarried. A businessman who had always detested his work discovered that as he applied prosperous thinking to his job, he got a whole new perspective on it. And in due time, this man was sought out by many for counseling. Needless to say, he no longer considers his work detestable, and he enjoys the many, many contacts he has had with others. What were the simple but delightful steps these persons and many others took to evoke prosperous thinking, thus producing peace, health, and plenty in their lives? The first step to prosperous thinking is creating a vacuum to receive First, they got ready for the prosperity they desired by creating a vacuum to receive it. Nature abhors a vacuum and always rushes in with new substance to fill empty space in mind, body, affairs, or relationships. You too can form a mental vacuum by cleaning out of your mind negative, limited, unforgiving thoughts. As Charles Fillmore has written in his book Prosperity, thoughts are things and occupy space in the mind. We cannot have new or better ones in a place already crowded with old, weak, and inefficient thoughts. A mental house cleaning is even more necessary than a material one. If you are not sure what attitudes or memories need to be released and dissolved, give yourself a universal treatment of forgiveness. Declare, I fully and freely forgive. I loose and let go. I cast all judgments, resentments, criticisms, and unforgiveness upon the Christ within, to be dissolved and healed. The prospering truth has set me free to meet my rich good and to share my good with others. As you prayerfully affirm this, you will probably feel a sense of burden pass and a feeling of release, relief, and freedom come. Your mental vacuum for new good has now been formed. Health is recovered after release of a grudge. A businessman became ill, and in spite of his best medical care, he did not recover. His body was filled with poison, and nothing seemed to dissolve it. One night, while perspiring with a high fever, this man realized that there must be something he needed to get rid of or release, mentally or emotionally, since thoughts and emotions have such a powerful effect on the body. He then asked God to reveal what it was that he needed to release. Suddenly, he began to think of a person against whom he had been holding a strong grudge and about whom he had said many unkind things to. He then affirmed over and over, I fully and freely release and forgive. I loose and let go all old ill feeling. Divine love produces the perfect result now. Soon, a feeling of peace, quietness, and release came, and he slept peacefully. The next morning, his fever was gone, and he recovered rapidly from his illness of many months' duration. Form a physical vacuum. Not only is it necessary to form a mental vacuum, often a physical vacuum must be formed. You can form a physical vacuum for new peace, health, and plenty by releasing, giving away, selling, or otherwise getting rid of what you no longer want or need. Do not retain items of clothing, furniture, letters, files, books, or any other personal possessions that you no longer need or use. Get them out of the way to make room for what you do want. As long as you retain them, they take up space in your world that is needed for your new good. Declare to yourself as you go through your personal belongings, I fully and freely release, I loose and let go. I joyously make way for my new good, which now appears quickly in satisfying appropriate form. A widow had attempted in vain to settle her late husband's estate. Many legal entanglements had involved her with other heirs for almost a year. When she learned about forming a vacuum, she began cleaning out the closets and other areas of her husband's clothes and personal possessions. The estate was quickly and harmoniously settled. A widower, whose grief for his deceased wife had been intense for years, found out that as he freely and fully released her personal possessions, his grief lessened, and he was able to begin building a new life for himself. A husband had asked his wife for a divorce, and then they were separated. Then she learned of the vacuum law of prosperity. After she sold or otherwise disposed of a great many personal possessions left over from the former marriage, her present husband returned, and they were happily reconciled. Let go of unpleasant relationships. Sometimes it is necessary to form a vacuum by letting go of unsatisfying relationships and old ways of living that no longer please or satisfy. A woman who had a great financial needs found that new ideas and methods of work opened to her after she gave up several dissatisfying friends of the past with whom she was no longer congenial with. If there is a question in your mind about the possibility, affirm, I now let go of old ways of living, old unsatisfactory methods of work, and dissatisfying relationships of the past. I am now open and receptive to my new and highest good. The second step to prosperous thinking, getting definite about prosperity. You are now ready to take the second step in prosperous thinking. Charles Fillmore described this step when he wrote, "Go into the silence daily at a stated time and concentrate on the substance of spirit prepared for you from the foundation of this world." This opens up a current of thought that will bring prosperity into your affairs. Daily become still and think about rich, unlimited substance of the universe that is everywhere, ever present for you to form as prosperous ideas, which will produce prosperous results. Affirm, the rich substance of the universe instantly responds to my prosperous thinking. I am now rich in mind and manifestation. Now write down your desires. At this point, begin definitively to mold substance. Do this by sitting very quietly every day and writing down on paper what you feel you want to be, have, or accomplish and experience for the day, week, month, or year. Dare to be definite about prosperity. If you want prosperity to be definite in manifestation for you, people often hesitate to write down and think about what they really desire. They do not realize that the mind is the connecting link between man and the rich, but uninformed substance of the universe. If you never think definitively or definitely about prosperity and prosperous results you desire, no mental contact is made with the rich substance of the universe. You must drift along in a stream of limitation and dissatisfaction. A businesswoman attended a lecture on prosperous thinking and learned of the power of writing down her desires. She hurried home and made a list of the prosperous results she strongly desired in her life. 4 days later, a large sum of money, to which she had long been legally entitled but had been unable to collect, came to her. Why settle for so little when you can have so much? The rich substance of the universe is yours to do with as you wish. Why settle for so little in life when you can have so much just by daring to be definite in your thinking? Another businesswoman, a widow, began writing out her true desires daily. At the first of the new year, she wrote down her desire to remarry happily. She wrote down her desire for a better home. She also stipulated her deep desire for a better paying, more satisfying job. In the middle of the year, a pleasant, better paying position was offered to her. At about the same time, she met her future husband through mutual friends, and they were married by the end of the year. He was a building contractor, and he gave her the better home she wanted. As he too began deliberately to practice prosperous thinking, he developed 2 other successful businesses. When you write down your desire for the day, the week, or the month, list what you really want, not what you think you should have, nor what somebody else thinks you should have. What you really want. Your deep-seated desires are God's good tapping at the door of your mind. Furthermore, write down dates by which you wish your desired good to be accomplished. You will be amazed at how the substance of heaven and earth will hasten to do your bidding when you give it definite desires and dates through which to work out good results. A businessman had long desired larger and better business property for the expansion of his business. After learning of the power of prosperous thinking, he no longer hesitated to believe he could have the property. Instead, he wrote down his definite desires for it. Soon he learned of a desirable piece of business property and, upon investigation, found that it was priced quite reasonably. Everyone involved, his lawyer, the realtor, and the seller, tried to assist him in every way. Even the local bank president seemed interested in helping him acquire the property. It was as though all of the forces of heaven and earth willingly cooperated to work out the financial agreements. And this man soon settled his business in the new location. As you get your desires down on paper, feel free to work and then rework them, changing, revising, expanding, and rearranging them as you wish from day to day. Make lists of what you do not want in your life and write them down. Concerning them, be thou dissolved in the name of Jesus Christ. Make lists of what you do want and write them down. This or something bigger, Father, let thy highest good now manifest. Let the divine result now appear. By decreeing the divine result, you remain open and receptive to your highest good, which may appear in the form of greater good than you had humanly conceived in your own private desires. The third step to prosperous thinking, mentally picturing your good. You are now ready to take the third step in prosperous thinking. Begin at this point to image your desires as already fulfilled. Mentally live with the picture of fulfillment as you go about your day. Do not try to reason through your mental pictures of fulfillment or to understand how they are going to come about. Just dare to image the fulfilled result as best as you can, and then let the rich substance of the universe produce that imaged good in either usual or unusual ways. For your mental image, declare often, this or something better, Father. Let thy highest good now manifest. Let the divine result now appear in the divine way. The power of imagination. Psychologists declare that imagination is one of the mind's strongest powers. The more you dare to imagine and image your desired good as a fulfilled result, the more you dare to live from your mental images. The faster the imaging power of the mind will begin, producing the most magical results for you. Your mental image makes conditions, but it is up to you to make your mental image of the good you desire. You should image only the highest and best you can conceive, because whatever you image yourself as doing, you can do. The Wheel of Fortune method is powerful, delightful, and helpful in developing the imaging power of the mind to produce prosperous results. The fourth step to prosperous thinking, speaking daily affirmations. The fourth step in prosperous thinking is to begin affirming verbally, definitely, and daily the divine manifestation of your desires. As you daily write down your desires and image them as fulfilled, affirm, my world is the perfect creation of divine substance. The finished results of the divine substance now appears as peace, health, and plenty in my world. In the beginning, the world was created by definite spoken affirmations, as God declared, "Let there be." You can and should create your world accordingly, because you are created in the image and likeness of God, and you too have the power to form substance through your definite spoken decrees for good. The power of spoken thoughts. It is good to be systematic in the daily verbal use of affirmation. By speaking them aloud in privacy for at least 5 minutes at a time, 3 to 5 times a day, there is an increased power in spoken words to produce definite, satisfying, immediate results. Thinking the right thought is powerful, but speaking it forth into the rich substance of the universe in deliberate, definite verbal form over and over daily gathers that rich substance together in definite events and circumstances that produce immediate, satisfying, and definite results. Charles Fillmore has explained, substance is first given form in the mind. In laying hold of substance in the mind and bringing it up into manifestation, we play most important part. We do it according to our decree. A little positive assertion and declaration of the good you desire is often all that is needed to turn the tide of events that will produce that good for you, swiftly and easily. How often have you talked about what you did not want and have gotten it? Now dare to speak of what you desire and begin receiving it. The promise is, thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee. Job 22:28. The final step in prosperous thinking, declaring prosperity is yours now. After beginning to get rid of what you do not want by forming a vacuum, after writing out your desires, imaging and affirming their divine fulfillment, you are ready for the culminating step in prosperous thinking. The time has come to go about your daily activities acting as though you are already prosperous, doing whatever you can to make it so in your times of work, play, and rest. This you are to do, however, in a special way by invoking the thought of success and prosperity with everything you think, say, and do. Deliberately become a prosperous thinker by beginning to think yourself and others as successful, prosperous, and victorious. Think often of whatever success, prosperity, and victorious good you are already enjoying and give thanks for it. Declare to yourself often, every day, in every way, I am growing more prosperous, more successful, and victorious. I am made for peace, health, and plenty, and I am now experiencing them in ever-increasing degrees in my life. Give others the same thought whenever you think of them. This is a delightful mental practice to which your mind will quickly respond. Stop thinking of the failures and mistakes of yourself or others, and start concentrating on every degree of prosperity, success, and good that has been or is now evident. The mind is strengthened and uplifted by the thrives on thoughts, images, and words of success, whereas it seems to shrivel and be repelled by thoughts, images, and words of failure, limitation, and poverty. The mind delights in helping a prosperous thinker become more prosperous. That is why nothing succeeds like success. Invoke the law of increased success by affirming, my success is big, powerful, and irresistible. Nothing succeeds like success. I now go from success to greater success in the name of Jesus Christ. Speak in terms of your good rather than in terms of apparent problems. Speak in terms of your blessings rather than in terms of your challenges. Emphasize the good in your life, knowing that as you do, it will increase. How often have you used the law of decrease and talked problems, difficulties, failures, limitations, ill health, confusion, inharmony? Now let your every act, tone, look, word express a quiet, confident assurance of success. Also, give yourself thought of increased good by thinking of yourself as already looking, acting, and living as successfully and prosperously as you truly desire to be. Think of yourself already wearing the clothes you wish to wear, as already living in the gracious, abundant manner, as already experiencing the health, prosperity, and happiness you so rightly desire. Then speak positively, appreciatively of every degree of health, prosperity, and happiness you already are experiencing, and this will help to multiply your good. Be persistent. There is just one other thing to remember. You must persist in doing these simple and delightful things step by step, day by day. Perhaps your mind has been steeped in thoughts, images, and words of failure, limitations, problems, and difficulties. And if so, it may take a little while to clear your mind of the negative and make way for positive results. It is important that you persevere. A successful writer once said something that has helped me persist past discouragement to success many times. Before success comes in any man's life, he is sure to meet with much temporary defeat and perhaps some failure. When defeat overtakes a man, the easiest and most logical thing to do is to quit. That is exactly what the majority of men do. More than 500 of the most successful men in this country has ever known told the author their greatest success came just one step beyond the point at which defeat had overtaken them. So, if discouragement besets you and your deep longings seem in vain, just hang on to the thought nothing in this world can take the place of persistence and determination. With God's help, I now persist in my highest good. Persevere in this idea. Truly, the peace, health, and plenty of prosperity come not by chance, but in accordance with the laws of prosperous thinking. You can invoke prosperous thinking for simple, practical, delightful results, as so many others have done. This concludes our reading from Catherine Ponder on Dare to Prosper. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, this is Aurelia from Aureliaslight, and I look forward to being with you at our next Manifesting the Miraculous podcast. So I wish you all love, light, peace, and prosperity this week.